Welcome to Tinfoil and Tape Flips, the weekly Guild Wars 2 podcast presented by Game Breaker Nation, where we talk about various theories and tantalizing topics of the week. My name is Jonathan, better known as Deo around Yak's Bend in Guild Wars 2. Today we have, basically they put out one major thing, which was a teaser trailer for the upcoming Season 2 finale. But first, let me introduce you to... as always, Jim CARR.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
And he is skipping classes at Hogwarts today to join us, so give it up for Aaron.
I may or may not be involved with Pottermore.com. That's all we'll say about that.
And we talked a lot about it, haven't we?
To be brutally honest, I'm surprised that you weren't beforehand, but...
Well, I did it like a month ago because I didn't know it was a thing.
And if you notice, Roy's not here today. Unfortunately, he's been beamed to a galaxy far, far away. So far, it's under construction, and he's dealing with that construction. So he'll probably be back with us next week. So hopefully you see you then.
Kind of hard to do a podcast with a hole in your roof.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's jump right into it. The Season 2 finale teaser trailers. Basically, as usual, they always give you a teaser trailer. If it's the 2-week cadence that they usually do, it's kind of the week that they don't release the information. Well, it's usually a week prior to the new update. And sure enough, we got a teaser trailer. And this one in the description states that this will be the finale for Season 2. How does everybody feel with that being the finale?
Not feeling that.
Yeah,
Angry, to say the least.
I'm worried that there's a lot that needs resolved, or at least if they're going to leave us on a cliffhanger, I hope it's not for too long of a hiatus, like after the end of Season 1 into Season 2. I mean, I liked the Labyrinthine Cliffs and the Festival of the Four Winds. I enjoyed those events, but I don't want to be sitting on holding pattern content for another 2-3 months. And I don't think they can do it justice if this chapter is going to be just as long as the previous ones. Like 3 missions to do, you know, the culmination of something big here. It just feels a little forced.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I can't believe they timed it this way. It seems like it would have been easy to start the season, or continue the season rather, 2 weeks earlier and just finish everything out before the holidays. Yes, it would have coincided with Halloween, but I don't think the player base would have minded if they were running Halloween and the Living World at the same time.
I think the whole week I was saying this episode is definitely gonna have tinfoil and table flips. My table flip of this is them saying it's the finale for Season 2. Because, of course, everybody said, oh, well, they left on the mid-season finale on Episode 4. And everybody said, oh, so that means there's 8 episodes. But then someone had to come out from ArenaNet saying, that's not necessarily what it means. Why even say it? I'm sure they knew ahead of time it's like it was going to that. It just feels like it was leading us on for the sake of leading us on. And speculating on, oh, there might be more episodes because, you know, people use the argument of the armor that you're getting from all these living story updates. It ends on Episode 8, like I think data mined, and then you saw it in the wardrobe. The last two pieces could be done in Episode 8, and people were like, well, that's just more proof. I'm like, well, things come out afterwards. They can do maybe 2 armors, 3 armors, depending on how long it is. But clearly they already had that set in mind. It's just, why did they have to say it? So, I mean, how do you guys feel about them coming out during the mid-season finale that was Season 4 saying, oh, that's not necessarily what that means, but it was. Like, what was the point?
Yeah,
Calm me
it
down.
definitely takes some audacity to do that, which is why I think that it's going to tie into this PAX South announcement thing. I think that that's going to be like, in order for them to save what they've done here, it's going to have to, that announcement's going to have to be something huge. So only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, they're really going to have to do an awesome job, which I'm worried about. Like I think Malfanis or Jim was saying, was there's a lot of open-ended questions that I don't expect have to be answered, but a lot of them, you know, what are they going to wrap up, or what are they going to leave cliffhangers? They're going to leave cliffhangers from season 1 still going. I mean,
I mean, if they're going to have to do something, either more missions than what they've been doing. So, you know, just this big heaping pile of story content, or they're going to have the regular mission, and then they're going to have out of mission stuff. Like I think we were talking earlier about, it would have to be world bosses, or I don't even know if they'd add, you know, a new map. I mean, they've added 2 so far, but a huge new portion to the Silver Waste that involves something other that's big. But I don't know.
And I see people in chats talking about the PAX announcement that we did talk about last week. I mean, I think I made within the show, it is about a week and a half out, like from the launch of this one. What if one of their big announcements is, hey, just kidding. I know I'm really hopeful, but you know, what they're like, hey, we've been working on an expansion tight-lipped. It's coming out, you know, and I think it depends on their player base, really, of how impulsive of buyers they are. What do you guys think?
I'm hoping for that, like you said, the expansion, while tight-lipped, like that's a long shot, but honestly, I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping it's going to be something that just blows us away, because they're hyping it up like crazy. So
Can't confirmed.
Oh.
Hey, we'll talk about it in the trailer later. I'm just saying.
Just
It
like
has
so
to
many
be
other
something
things.
huge if they want to save face here.
Well, I'm really hoping that it's not. I like the idea of an expansion. I like the idea of like a big, huge content drop, because that would really explain why all these chapters for season 2 have felt, especially the second half of season 2, have felt so short, because they've all been roughly 3 instance missions, along with some running around in the world, just talking to people or finding things. So
Well, maybe they're using that to gauge it, because I think people say, like, especially with like you're saying the second half, I think if you like almost skip every like voice thing and whatnot, you can get it done in like maybe 30, 45 minutes. But I know for some of those ones, like when we were prepping for the shows and stuff, we were there for like hours, especially when we had like those big lore bombs drop on us with the Dermot Priory and so
the talking and the
yeah, it can be like if you skip and stuff, I think it can be like 30 to 45 minutes. But I think Aaron got logged out during the one time.
Yeah, I was in the Hidden Arcana so long that it logged me out because there was a fix patch.
Yeah, there was a fix patch, and they said you have an hour in here, and then he still logged out. So
yeah,
that's definitely saying something. So maybe they're trying to test that balance with the second half, and hopefully there's a big announcement coming, PAX. Which, I mean, a lot of people have pointed, you don't just bring in the president of the company, which they are, along with Colin Johansson.
Yep.
So hopefully it's big. Hopefully
big and positive.
Yeah. And I mean, the big thing that we're all here for is the trailer and all the stuff that we pulled out of the trailer, and that has also been going around the internet as well. And I think we have the video here, and we'll be playing it while we talk about it. First, throughout the whole video in general, there's captions that break up each scene, kind of a thing. And what do you guys find interesting? Is there anything interesting within those captions?
So you've got the first few captions, which are pretty much just recapping the season, like when your world is threatened, you must prepare, stuff like that. But the end captions that go like, but then you face a decisive moment and you will reach the point of no return. That's more of an ominous pronouncement, and I would like to know what the decisive moment is.
I'm honestly, I'm not really sure. I remember watching it and I was sitting there looking at it. I didn't really know what to think of it. I mean, I get, you know, it's a point of no return, but normally you get some kind of inclination previously as to at least a little bit of what the buildup is, as to a possibility of what might be happening. But I'm sitting here, you know, watching this again as it plays through, and the Pact camp is going to get attacked. We got another dragon coming through, and I got nothing. Like, there's more Mordrum.
Well, and that's the funny thing. I think a lot of people found the trailer a little lackluster, except for like literally one scene of this ghostly figure that pops up, and that's been like what I've seen on the internet a big talking point, which I find funny. It's literally there for maybe a second or two.
It's the shortest shot in the whole trailer, I'm pretty sure.
It's literally it pulling back and then next scene.
Yeah.
But I think you were talking about that the pack camp shots, you know, shows ships taking off. Are they like what's going on there? Are they possibly leaving us behind or?
Well, what I'm wondering with the ships taking off is the vines are gonna. The vines that have been growing across the Silverways throughout the patches they've been putting out, they've been growing another vine farther and farther along with like every patch, basically. They might have missed some of them, but that's kind of how it's been going. And they're headed towards the Pact camp. Now, I'm assuming they're going to crash into the Pact camp. I think that might have been a shot in the trailer. I'm not sure. But obviously the camp is going to get attacked. Are we going to be launching a counteroffensive with the Pact airships, or are we simply putting them up in the air to kind of set up a perimeter? It's just something to think about. What's going to happen with the Pact, basically? Are we going to get, you know, our asses handed to us, or are we going to maybe push forward a little bit? I'd like to see us lose, because that's more interesting than just, we banded together and we did it. No, let's
especially because, keep in mind, this isn't us going to defeat Mordremoth. This is Mordremoth rising, and we're probably going to get obliterated. Like I said, I think a couple times in our past episodes, the point of their story was for it to be like almost like Zaitan Rising, the destruction that came with that. So hopefully we do see some big things that change. Maybe not just destroy, but alter or change. Because that was one complaint a lot of people have, is they've done nothing but destroy, which the majority they have destroyed, but they have also created things.
We're dealing with giant world-eating monstrosities of it, like ancient magic. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff blown up. That's not something we can really avoid. So I don't really know what people were expecting with, you know, dragons this massive.
Go ahead, Malthanis.
It's just, I'd like to see if the Pact loses, and the Pact was, you know, fighting Zaitan, and they managed to fight Zaitan well. I want to see why. Like, I want to see what makes Mordremoth different or more powerful or able to better read and counter the Pact's attempts. Like, I want to know why Mordremoth is so easily able to just sweep the Pact away, if, you know, that happens. But I don't know. It's just and they've got. I know we've been talking about the vine from the south. There's another one that I hadn't even noticed that's coming in from the north too. So there's one from each entrance of the Pact camp, and I'm really hoping those are something interesting other than just, oh, hey, Mordremoth is getting closer. But
well, and I think it's important to have the Pact get upstaged with this attack because of the lackluster situation we have with the Zaitan fight. It was so, for want of a better word, pitiful. and easy to defeat this Elder Dragon. So in order to put the Elder Dragons on the map as a legitimate threat once more, they really need to make Mordramoth just sweep us off the board.
What are you saying? Hitting one in a 5-man instance isn't worthy of a
Hey,
Elder
hey, it
Dragon
was
that's
two.
consuming
I
the board?
believe it was 2, sir. I believe 2 was.
Well, to be fair, I got carried through there, so it was one for me.
Yeah, dang, you needed to get carried through a Zaitan fight. That's sad, Dale.
Yep, that's how big of a noob I am.
Our guild leader,
actually,
guys.
I like story mode in Ara all the way up to the Zaitan fight. I really do.
I hate the waiting on the boat parts. Those are super boring.
That and the randomly falling through the boat.
Oh yeah, that'll put a damper on your day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But,
I mean, yeah, people in chat are saying maybe the ships are running, which that'd be interesting if they were fleeing. Like, we're out. You called our bluff. See ya. But
they're just retreating. Yeah, I'd love it.
yeah, we just look back. We're like, sure, you.
Oh, I hope Chahern dies. That would be cool.
As we get that Doppler effect, they're running and you hear moving on, and it just goes into the distance, and it's like, son of a.
I don't understand. Like, I understand people disliking Traherne. I don't understand the hate. Like,
No,
I don't understand.
but
Like, I get he doesn't seem like much of a character. He seems kind of two-dimensional, but I don't understand. Like, just I've seen people talking. Just there's this irrational hate of Traherne, and it just I'm sitting there. I'm like, why? Like,
Well,
you're talking about
honestly
hating him
stems
more
from-
than Flunt.
I don't think people hate him more than Flunt. Flunt is a special case.
Maybe
He's a
they
Flunt.
put him in. Maybe they put him in to like take a little bit of the hatred away. But in like kind of the next scene, we see like, heading to the Priory, and we see Ogden and Marjorie back at the Priory. What do you think this might mean?
So the caption that goes on about studying your enemies, that's been a big thing in this patch. When you go to the Hidden Arcana in Echoes of the Past, you have a Priory Scholar actually teaching a class on Elder Dragons to a group of Priory students. And that's when you actually learn the information that one of the kind of magical realms Mordramoth governs over is the mind. And we've basically been going back and forth to the Priory all season, kind of learning more and gathering information on our foe. And so that's been a huge sticking point for the storytelling this season. And I think that's going to be kind of the place they're going to center all the, Deus Ex Machina, here's how you beat the dragon knowledge, is the Priory. And that's why they're making such a big deal out of it. It's not the best storytelling method to center it all in one place over and over and over again, but that's kind of what the Priory do, so it does make sense.
Though, do you think that's where we're going to learn about the dragon? Because remember, in the last episode, it was Marjorie saying, "Oh, we need to study more about the runes on the cave. I'm going to go back to the Dermot Priory to study." So, do you think we're just going to go there and we're like, they're going to lead with like, "Oh, those were runes," and like we'll get it more into the runes and stuff like that. But do you think it's just a clip from that scene where it's like, "Oh yeah, we learned about it. Let's go back to the cave," and then we learn about the like history of whatever we're finding in this cave? Which
Oh, go ahead, Mohan.
I'm honestly hoping to see a Mordrum Vine attack on the Priory in the middle of you learning about this stuff. Like,
See,
just that you're this close to figuring out what the hell is going on, and boom, spiky vines through the wall, fight stuff.
Yeah, and like what you said, Deo, where we go there, we learn, we go back. That's kind of what I want them to shy away from, because it's a very predictable line of storytelling. But it makes sense, because the Priory is kind of the College of Winterhold of Guild Wars, so...
I mean, to be fair, I think the first place we're going to go is the Dermot Priory and then head to the cave, because, I mean, are they really expecting us to be like, yeah, your character went there just stood outside the cave for, 4 weeks now? Or you're just like waiting there like, all right, when's Marjorie gonna get back to me? Is that my bird? No, that's another bird.
Yeah.
Like,
they're going to come up with some token excuse for the other people not to go to the Priory with you.
Or they're like, hey, did you have fun at Winter's Day? Like, but I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know when that scene takes place, but also they show other places in the Priory, and they do show a jade structure, which we just played the video, so you probably saw it. It was you see like almost a jade cube, half draped with a tarp. Can one of you guys elaborate on what that was about?
Okay, so quick history lesson. About 400 years ago, 450 years ago, I want to say now, in Kantha, the continent to the south, it's very Asian themed. There was this man named Shiro Tagashi who got corrupted by Abaddon, the fallen god of secrets. And basically, long story short, he killed the emperor, and then two guys killed him, and he emitted a death wail, which turned the entire ocean in Kantha, not ocean, sea in Kantha to jade. It turned it into solid jade. And that's where this block comes from, is the Jade Sea in Kantha. And encased in the block is it's got the skin of a worm in Guild Wars 2, but what I think it is a Leviathan, which were creatures you could find back in Guild Wars 1 in the Jade Sea, and they would be encased in these big jade blocks. So that's what I think that is. Now, where we can go here is we can harken this back to Jim's statement earlier of Kantha confirmed. You know, it's a stretch, but Kantha confirmed.
Why would they have a giant block cut out of the Jade Sea if they weren't hinting at Kantha in some way? So
well, and why is Marjorie looking at it specifically? I think the person standing with her is either an unknown character or the player character. It hasn't really been confirmed which. But why is she?
I would like to go ahead. What'd you say?
Just why is she examining it at all if it's not going to be important to the plot? And that would mean that Kantha would be important to the plot.
Or it could just be one of the things of it could be important eventually when they want to. I really don't think this is going to be the next place we go is Kantha.
But why put it in the trailer?
Because they put a lot of things in the past that looked Kantha related, and people ate it up.
They also put the Ark of the Covenant in there. So, that was in the archives. You guys saw that. That hasn't been brought up.
They never put that in a trailer, though, did they?
No, it's never been in a trailer. It was just sitting in there.
All I'm saying is they put a jade encased creature, I want to say a Leviathan, in the trailer. For a reason. If they did it for no reason, that's kind of going to annoy me. Don't do that.
Though I would like to see it'd be weird if it just happened out of the blue now, but what if all of a sudden people are saying there are unused Asuran gates and stuff like that? What if one of these inactive Asuran gates opened up and we have just all these humans from Kantha, because all we know about Kantha right now, since we've been secluded from them, is they're very xenophobic. Because they basically pushed out all the Tengu, which is why we see Tengu in Tyria. What if this is almost an invasion type thing, and they're all of a sudden a Asuran gate opens up, and soldiers are just piling through? And like I said, I don't want this to happen right now because I think we have enough on our plate for another thing to just randomly happen. But
yeah, we don't really know the situation with a potential Asura in Kantha. They could be there, but they wouldn't have come to the surface because they wouldn't have the Primordis issue. So I don't see why the Asura would be on the surface in Kantha. That is, like you said, this is a crackpot theory, but let's run with it for a second. So the only reason I say no to this theory is because I don't think the Asura would have even bothered to come to the surface in Kantha yet, unless the Ministry of Purity, which is who's kind of in charge over there, went so far as to go after them next, because they're the people that are responsible for pushing all the other races out of Kantha.
Mm-hmm. However, they from one of the personal stories for the Asura is you have a teleportation device that functions without a receiving gate.
Yeah.
So they can always pull stuff from bits of the personal story to, kind of underpin advancements in the overarching living world. And I'd be okay with that. And then, they can mention, oh yeah, an Asuran crew figured out a way to do teleportation without a receiving gate. So, and then, the Asura who picked that for their story can be like, oh, hey, that was me. me. But hey,
Yeah, I was gonna say they have gravitated more towards using maybe not plot points in the story, but they have used characters from the personal story. Like when you first entered Prosperity, you had all those bandits that were part of the human storyline. So yeah, they could very well put that in there. But I think the biggest thing is I think we're all in agreement that it's much more down the road than what's more likely to come for this teaser. I mean, I don't think we all think they're just going to show up and release Cantha right here and then.
well,
I mean, just think for a second though. You're Colin Johansson. You've been sitting on this Cantha bomb.
Let me get into it.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. You're Colin Johansson. You've been sitting on this Cantha bomb for 2.5 years, knowing that it's coming, and not allowed to say a word about it. Imagine how excited you are to just drop the whole thing right on our heads.
Yeah, he would probably want to go.
Wouldn't it?
He would probably want to be the one to go to PAX to do it. If that is the announcement at PAX, but
it would be fun.
I'm scared.
I'm crossing my fingers.
And we are technically sitting in roughly the same area that Prophecies took place in, right? Like Guild Wars roughly.
Here, yeah.
So the first place that the first expansion went to was Factions.
I know. I mean, I have other theories on, like, and so does everyone else, on where we might be going next as far as the map is concerned too. So that's one of many. Mm-hmm. Just the minuscule connection we can make with that, basically.
But I mean, we've kind of covered the Jade Leviathan and the possibilities with that one, the Jade Sea, all that. In one of the next scenes, it shows Bram with Air, Zoja, and Logan. Why is Bram there? I mean, why not?
I believe he is standing next to his mother.
But he's still in the group. What looks like the group. I mean.
Well, it could have been one of those. Is like, hey, Bram, can you go get Destiny's Edge? Because a lot of the times you'll have, one of the other groups is like, I'm going to go do this thing, for the new Destiny's Edge or whatever people are calling them now. And a lot of it is, I'll go talk to these people and I'll go talk to these people. And eventually in, whatever part of the living story, you go assist them to be like, hey, what's taking so long and stuff is going on. Maybe Bram just went to go get them for help. Also because, Kaith stole a dragon egg and they've known Kaith the longest. So if we run into Kaith again for this bit, hey, Bram, can you go get all of her friends to talk her into not being crazy?
It's just, you mentioning Kaith and the egg made me think of Air just showing up and be like, yeah, we need someone to fill in. So if you don't mind.
we're kind of down.
And Bram's just like, oh, okay.
Oh, Bram doesn't sound like that.
He does. He totally sounds like that. That was my best Bram.
I don't agree with that one. That impression was as good as my Colin Johansson one a minute ago. That's all I'm going to say.
Which was perfect.
No. I apologize, Colin Johansson.
I'm sure he's watching.
Yeah, of course. He's an avid fan. In one of the next scenes, the Silver Waste door, which we slowly started touching upon. This is where we ended last episode. What's going to go on here? We see it light up. I mean,
okay, this is a big one. So, what should we go over first? What do you
go over the Guild Wars 1 tie-in first? I think that's probably.
Oh
yeah, with the history. Go over with the Ascension runes. That'll probably be the heaviest part of Guild Wars 1 lore right there.
So the runes on the door, you have, I believe they're vertical. The runes aren't just random runes that are like, ooh, mystical runes. They're actually a set of runes that appeared in Guild Wars 1 in the Crystal Desert outside of a big mesa called Augury Rock. And when you completed 3 challenges for the gods, supposedly, these runes would each light up and you would step over each of them. And once you did so, the mesa would crack. It would split and open to reveal a temple known as I believe it's called the Temple of Ascension. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. And you'd go in there and you'd defeat inside would be your doppelganger, which was a copy of you. It would have all the same skills as you. And you would have to defeat it in order to ascend, it was kind of a vague idea they introduced in Guild Wars 1. It supposedly brought you closer to the gods. It made you sort of a more powerful demigod-esque being. And in-game, it gave you like extra attributes and stuff. Or in Prophecies, at least, it unlocked the ability to do an extra attribute point quest, which was how they kind of explained it. And it was an idea they actually abandoned in the later 2 games. But I'm just wondering if this door leads to a similar place as the temple in Augury Rock. Like, what if that's not the only Temple of Ascension? What if it's not the only place on Tyria you could achieve Ascension? That's my thinking on that.
I think in the other ones they referred to it as something else. I know Factions was closer to the stars.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Nightfall didn't even have it. Nightfall didn't bother. Nightfall just had you go rescue Koss and you ascended.
And for the Lorehounds, it is the Temple of Ascension. I did have to look up because I know it was Throne of and it began with a P, but it's Palentia, and that's the actual thing that you, I guess, sit on in there, and that.
Oh, that's what that's called. I did not know that.
But I knew something. It was like Throne or something, and I was like, just in case, I don't want the internet coming after Aaron. I like Aaron.
Oh, and for just an interesting bit of tie-in, you had to be ascended to enter the Underworld and the Fissure of Will. So maybe getting ascended will help us go interact with Ritlock? Question mark. Possibility.
So no longer Cantha confirmed, but more so.
Listen, everything's confirmed at this point.
Abaddon confirmed.
Abaddon confirmed. Fissure of Woe confirmed. Ritlock confirmed. All of it.
I'm looking at that, like, I guess portal thing that opens up at the bottom of those runes, and I'm like, is that supposed to be us? Like, 'cause it looks like just a golden, like a gold palette on a Mesmer portal that's just kind of stuck to the wall there. I'm wondering if it's supposed to be like just an instance portal, or if that's them doing some kind of effect, or if it's not a portal, or if it's like an orb of magic that's forming and someone's blipping in, kind of like the Terminator does in the time machine effect from the movies. But
I was gonna say was with the other seeds, because a lot of people have said it was a portal, but with the other seeds, didn't it create like a dome of light that, like, bright light that like just cascaded out and, you know, created the past? What if that's that dome of light? Like, we planted the seed in front of the door, and that just might be the early stage of that dome of light.
Yeah.
And it might not be a portal.
Yeah, it could have something to do with the memory seeds. In my perfect little world that never happens, it is a portal that opens up after you complete 3 challenges to light up the runes. But that's not going to happen. So who knows what it could be. But I agree with Jim. I think it's probably a portal of some sort. But you're right, it could have something to do with the memory seeds, since we still have one more, and we have to plant it right outside there.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's been so long since the memory seed chapter, then I haven't done it a second time on any of my other characters or gone through for the achievements, that I couldn't remember the Dome of Light. So I might have to go do that after the show to refresh my memory.
Chat's saying it leads to the Crystal Desert.
I mean, that there's a tie to the Ascension with that, but I mean, isn't that the great thing about Guild Wars 2? You can replay this living story content.
Unless you missed it, then you have to pay money.
Well, 200 gems.
Not
200 gems isn't that cheap.
But you can make it in gold. So if you know how to make gold, you can convert it to gems. I mean, it's one of the few, I think Guild Wars 2 is the only game I know of that lets you convert in-game currency to the cash shop currency. So,
but if I think only you couldn't convert the cash shop currency to the in-game currency, then it would be perfect.
But you can.
Oh, I said if only you couldn't, because that's messed up. Shouldn't be able to do that. That's very bad.
Well, they have it as a market, so I guess that's kind of like a little aside for people who like playing markets and stuff. But anyway.
But the one thing that we've missed on that, like we talked about the Ascension runes, what about the snake symbols around the runes and on the outer part of the door? What's all of these snakes?
I mean, most of us are reminded of the Forgotten, which were a race that's millennia old. One of the first races on Tyria, I think. They were kind of set there by the gods not by the gods, but by Glint to watch over the planet. Isn't that right?
No, I think they fixed it later. Was the Forgotten are the keepers of like the Ascension, but didn't they break Glint free with the spell, and that's how she became Glint?
They're the ones that broke Glint free from Krokatork's influence, but they're like kind of the custodians of the planet. That's what they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
And they were basically
they came with Glint.
Yeah. Oh no, they were basically serpents that would kind of coil upright, and they had these things that I don't know what they're called because I'm not like a professional scientist. But
professionals, those amateur scientists.
They had those things.
No, they have professional scientists. Don't worry.
Like a hood, like cobras.
Yeah,
yes, that's the one. Malthanis is a scientist. I'll tell you.
Amateur scientists. I don't know. I haven't seen your degree to make it professional.
Computer science.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
That's something. It's more than me.
You can Google snakes on the internet and find it out. Computers. Yeah. There you go.
But basically, that's another tie-in to the Crystal Desert and Ascension, which is what chat said earlier. Crystal Desert, maybe. I'm hoping, because I love the Crystal Desert. It's the #1 zone I've wanted to go to ever since launch. But yeah, maybe we'll find out some connection between the Forgotten and the Sylvari inside, since we still have Kate's secret to uncover and only one more memory seed. I know there's a lot of theories going around about that, so...
I've just had one the crackpot theory going through with the Forgotten, right? With their symbols on the door here, with Kate's memories leading here, and Kate stealing the seed. What if she stole Glint's egg to give back to the Forgotten?
That would actually make a lot of sense. That's not a bad theory, sir. I like that. Definitely a possibility. Because
I mean, that's my question is, what do you think is going to go on inside that cave? I think we've said this a couple of times throughout the shows just because we want to know what's going on in the cave.
Well, there's
what's in the box?
It's in the box. That was my best Brad Pitt. But we'll probably enter the cave 2 different times, once in the memory seeds and once in real time. And I'm actually more interested to find out what's in the cave real time, because that's what's going to advance the story. What happens in the memory seeds that's in the past, so whatever. I hope we'll find out Kate's secret in there, though. That's the main thing I want to happen. I want to find out Kate's secret. What
my big theory for that one is we find out that yes, the Sylvari are dragon minions. That's why they couldn't get corrupted and whatnot. We also find out that previously Forgotten were dragon minions, but they were a race that got broken free type thing, or a subsection of that race.
Which,
go ahead.
Which I like that theory a lot, because the Forgotten are centered in the Crystal Desert, which was once the Crystal Sea, which could very much make them previous minions of the Water Dragon. That's very much a possibility.
And I mean, for this one, maybe they have to pass it on, or maybe they know that they're getting weaker or something and pass it on. Maybe the Sylvari, our Sylvari from the Pale Tree are the ones that have been released from that, dragon corruption curse type thing, whatever you want to refer it to as. And they are the guardians, and maybe this is Kate's secret is, that cave. Maybe the Forgotten tell us, or maybe there's some kind of recording or some kind of scripture, or whatever's in there, but it's going to let us know that maybe the Sylvari are these ones that are going to be the next ones to usher in the protection of Tyria, and maybe that's why Kate has taken that egg, is because this is probably the best likely chances. We already have this is from a dragon that was broken free, so maybe this is their best chance to get that dragon on their side, or. And
tying into that theory, Holy crap. I just had something, and then I lost it. I had it. But I got it again. So so in the Memory Seeds episode of the story, I don't remember the title of the episode. Seeds of Truth, that's the one. We had Keith interacting with Wynn and Fowlin, and Fowlin informs Keith that she overheard Wynn talking with someone. I want to say the Avatar, and it was a confidential conversation, and what Phelan overheard was, that's very like something they're talking about, and they say that's so dangerous, that could potentially control all Silvari. That being ambiguous, we don't know. So, and that's what kind of sets Fowlin off against Wynn, is that what she wants to know, like, what's this big secret that could, control my race, my people.
What's in the box?
Yeah, exactly. And so, A, I think we're going to find that out when we go into the Memory Seeds, and B, I think we're going to discover that thing is what Keith's secret was. Like, she found this out, and now she's keeping it a secret as well. And it's like you said, it could be that the Silvari are dragon minions of Mordramoth.
And
that would also...
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, and that would tie into, all the bits from Scarlet talking about how, one day I'll show them, like, your secret or something, like what Scarlet was writing stuff to Keith.
Mm-hmm.
So...
One day you'll show that you needed me or something. And maybe that was the thing. She got really upset that they were like, well, your wild hunt doesn't involve this, so shoo.
or it's one of those, is like, you're a second-born.
Yeah. Which, this kind of leads into this whole theory, and also a little bit into the next scene of the ghostly figure. But Guild Wars has always had that parallels with, like, the weapons, like Sohothan and Magdir, the Scepter of Ore and the Staff of the Mists, I believe it was, which we don't get to see too much of. We basically turn it in and destroy it, I think.
Yeah. I think we dropped it down a ravine, didn't we? I'd have to double check. I spent so long since I did that quest.
And I think when we defeated the Great Destroyer, which was a champion of Primordus, if you talk to an Asern, it says, like, oh, there's parallels going on in where the old ruins of Ore, like the ruins of Ore, used to be. So it seems like they like this whole cyclical, like, parallels. There's another parallel with there was a guy from Alona that actually went to the Crystal Desert, and the whole Ascension thing. He's actually your guide in the thing, and we could talk more about that in with the next scene. But basically, when he gets there, he attacks the Forgotten, who are the keepers of this whole Ascension idea, just because he sees them as lesser beings and, like, just thought of them as, like, mindless beasts. And eventually they lose, and they I think, trap his soul as to be the guide for Ascension.
Yeah. Is it actually confirmed that it was the Forgotten that killed Turiasa? Or was it just... I always thought it was just the inhospitable desert.
I think when everything divided, they finally were able to... I think they say defeat Turai's forces, whether that means they personally killed him or not. But I think because the whole point of the crystals being split into three was because a lot of people were trying to seek that power of Ascension, and it got driven in three different ways. And I think between all that, that's when Turai, fell, and they kept his soul as the guardian of it or something like that. But with the Seeds of Truth, we kind of see that play out with the Silvari, where the Asern are just basically like, oh, these are just creatures, let's test on them and all that stuff. Once again, there's that parallel of maybe another guardian type of Tyria is just getting experimented on because they're seen as lesser creatures. I mean, what do you guys think of that possibility?
So the thing to keep in mind is the people who were the perpetrators of that were the Inquest. They have a lot looser morals, but it's the same type of deal where they just see a new thing that they never saw before, and they're like, what can I do with this?
Let's poke it with a stick.
Yeah. And you're right, ArenaNet does like the drawing parallels like that.
And I mean, they also like recalling on information, like past information, which they're doing a lot here, and especially with what has stemmed from this little scene, the ghostly figure. I don't want to call it the ghostly hero because that might lean it towards one way, and I think Aaron can explain more why that could. If you refer to it as the ghostly hero, you're kind of pigeonholing yourself into one idea.
Well, okay, so first of all, the person we were just talking about, Turai Asa, he was the king of Korna, not the king, the war marshal of Korna in Elona a long time ago. I don't know how many hundreds of years, but it was hundreds of years ago. He defeated Palawajoko, who was a powerful lich in the Desolation, also down in Elona, and from there he decided to cross up into the Crystal Desert, Lower Tyria, which is actually technically part of Elona, the Crystal Desert is. And he wanted to go there to attempt ascension that we were talking about earlier, to become closer to the gods. And he led a bunch of his people there. And it turned out that the Crystal Desert, not a fun place to live. You'll die. So they died, and he didn't ascend. And now like Deo said, his spirit is trapped there to kind of guide other potential ascendees or ascenders, the thing I'm looking for.
Aspirants, I think, would be a better term.
That is a cool word. Aspirants. But yeah, to guide potential heroes who are also looking for ascension along the road to ascension. That's Turai Asa's job as of Guild Wars Prophecies. And of course the player character goes and he leads them through and they ascend together. But the main thing is this ghostly figure you see in the trailer, which is in what looks like the Durman Priory. He looks an awful lot like Turai Asa. He's got a helmet that's got a point on it, which is what Turai Asa's in-game model had. You could also play Turai Asa's story in the bonus mission pack in Guild Wars 1, so you could see his full non-ghostly form. And as far as the armor goes, it's generic armor, but Turai Asa also wore generic armor, so there's not really any tell there. But he's got a rather large beard like Turai Asa did. And the helmet's the main tell, but also the stature of the guy. Now the camera is pointed at an upward angle, so it's hard to tell how tall he really is, but he looks like a bigger guy. And Turai Asa was known far and wide as a huge, like, mountain of a man. So, you like that? Mountain of a man?
I like I like that you said it.
Oh. Why?
I don't know. Just go.
For all the viewers, this is going to be a conversation after the podcast.
I don't know.
So he's this huge guy, and you can see it in the trailer that this guy looks rather tall in stature. Some people say it's because of the camera angle. I personally think it's Turai Asa, and I think that the camera angle isn't all that's going on there. But that ties into it ties into everything. It ties into the Ascension runes. It ties into the portal. They're still laughing about the Mountain of a Man comment. I just want everybody to know about that.
Just keep going with the theory.
But it ties into the whole Elona, the whole Ascension theory. Basically, because he's the guy that tells us in Guild Wars 1 Prophecies, hey, you need to do these 3 challenges to light up these runes to get inside this mesa to ascend. And now we've got the 3 runes, the same runes we saw in the Crystal Desert in the Maguma jungle. And they're lit up, and there's a strange little portal thing underneath. And then we have Turai Asa, we have the ghostly figure in the trailer who could potentially be Turai Asa at the Durban Priory. How we awakened him there, who could tell? But that's a big theory that's floating around, and I personally agree with it, that's who that is Turai Asa, aka the ghostly hero.
Well, ghosts in general just seem to be perfectly willing and able to just kind of pop up anywhere in Guild Wars 2, almost plot devicey.
It was the same in Guild Wars 1.
Okay.
You always had some spirit that you had to escort somewhere.
Well, no, give examples.
Looking at you, Sanctum K. Looking at you.
Well, I would say give examples for that, because the only ones I can think of that randomly pop up are in Ascalon territory.
Oh, you had the ghost in Sanctum K that you had to escort to its.
Well, no, in Guild Wars 2 with the.
Oh, in Guild Wars 2. Oh, no, you've got the ones in the Maguma jungle over by the ruins of Fort Koga.
That's true.
Yeah,
And
all over
I don't know
Brisbane.
what the deal is with Fawcett, but I don't know if it
More-
was just because
more
he-
And the
specifically-
ones,
More specifically now, with I completely lost Marjorie's sister's name. Belinda, yeah. The other ghosts, the Ascalonian ghosts are tied from the faux fire. The other ghosts show up like in God's Lost Swamp. It's a very magically charged area, so there's another reason why they're getting held there. But why did Belinda and her Seraph, why are they haunting that area?
Yeah, the ones
presumably
that,
because their task was unfinished, like they were supposed to defend the fort and they failed. Basically,
But-
they failed quickly and easily.
in chat, someone's saying the ghosts in Brisbane. That's the ones he was talking about, the White Mantle. I believe that's the ones that the chat's referring to as well.
There's a White Mantle one. There's some former. There's the White Mantle ones that are in that kind of hidden area, but there's also a bunch of former, I think, Shining Blade that are running. That are like there's a skill point where you have to kill one of them, kind of hunt
they-
you down.
The whole,
Alright, well-
dying quickly, violently, and, having your task unfulfilled, that seems like there'd be a lot more ghosts. So
There's also the ghosts in Cursed Shore that I think they're involved in the personal story. So.
Well,
Ghosts
and I was gonna
everywhere in
say
Guild Wars.
the connection between the faux fire, Belinda, and even the ones in Cursed Shore is it involves dragon magic, which that could be the catalyst for these spells.
Yeah.
Like if someone's just slayed in battle, it's probably not going to have that effect. But like I wouldn't know how they'd explain away the ones in Brisbane, like the White Mantle, except for it did involve the whole idea of gathering the crystals to attune things, which could involve dragon magic. I don't 100% know, but it seems like the other ones, they were like destroyed by dragon magic. But
Or
I mean,
just like it might not need to be dragon magic specifically, but ghosts could be related to magical deaths at the hands of something magical in essence.
and I mean, I'm looking at a picture. It's very hard. I definitely think it's going to be Tarai Asa, the ghostly hero. I don't fully agree with it because in Guild Wars 1, when you ascend, he ascends with you. And basically, he traveled to what is it? Alonia is what they refer to as the area in Crystal Desert. It just has an I in it.
Is
'Cause
it? I thought it was just Alona.
Maybe I thought they said Alonia at some point, but anyway, the settlement he establishes, he's basically keeping those people there in those inhospitable area so he could find a way to ascend. Like he's kind of seeking this power. He kind of used us to ascend so he could have this power.
Oh, you just going back a sec. You were talking about the civilization that Turiasa attempted to found in the Crystal Desert. Yeah, that was
Wasn't
called
that
Alonia. You're right. I just
Okay.
wikied it.
And
Another thing I didn't know.
boom, two.
Chat was freaking out earlier because you knew something that I didn't.
Yeah, I
Apparently.
saw that, so that's why I'm like two. To me, you know.
Okay. Yep. Fair enough.
And like I said, I could definitely see him going the Tarai Asa route. It's just I don't agree that why would he venture back with us or to help us? I mean, what are your guys' thoughts about that?
Honestly, no idea. Like, supposedly he's in the Hall of Heroes now, right? I don't know if we know
He
that
followed
made
us into the Hall of Heroes, and I think that's where he
Yeah.
supposedly remains.
Mhm.
Without a lot of experience from Guild Wars 1, I've really only been going off of what you guys have been saying, and it doesn't sound like he really has any motivation here unless he ends up getting something out of it. Because like Deo was saying, he was using us to ascend. Maybe he's trying to, I don't know, go for his new game plus.
Well, I don't know that he was so much using it as that was the task he was doomed to perform, was escort us into Ascension. Now that just so happened to enable him to ascend too, which was always his mission, so yay that. I don't think he was a bad guy, though. I think he realized the error of his ways in trying to ascend when he was mortal, the arrogance of it. And in his death, he that's why he was so willing to help us ascend. Apart from the fact that he was doomed to do that, was because he recognized the error of his ways.
Perhaps he's responding to the magic of a place of ascension, and he's basically coming to say, "Hey, guys, just want to warn you, you're getting into some serious stuff here." So,
well, I mean, like you were saying, Aaron was, he was helping us, and he seemed like a good guy. I was like, yeah, I was thinking, yeah, that, you know, Palo Joker, he was a fantastic guy, wasn't he? You know.
Well, he was straight up evil though. Like you could tell that the whole time. He was always just like, I'm only using you for my own. Like he would just straight up tell you that.
To be fair, then he was honest.
Well, Palo Joker was, but the ghostly hero, like as far as we know, he was just being a helping guy. I don't know if that's a phrase people use, helping guy.
Or lying to us. I'm just saying. I don't trust them.
You want to know what I think is going to happen?
Okay,
and it's going to be super lame because this is what always happens. You're going to go to the German priory and people are going to be like, oh, these are runes of ascension. What do they mean? And then one of the priory scholars is just going to be like, there is a ritual. And he's just there. It's just going to be a Deus Ex Machina ritual that they ritual.
It's ritual
they
now.
Read off of a scroll. And it's going to summon him because, there's this one thing we have, luckily, because we're the Priory. That's probably what's going to happen because that's how they write this game. I hope it's not that, but if I had to put money on it, that's probably what's going to go down.
But I would also, I mean, do you have anything else to add to that, Jim?
Like I said, I'm at this point, I'm just kind of looking at this and I'm like, they wouldn't bring him, and if you guys are fairly certain that it's him, I mean, they wouldn't really bring him into this unless they were talking about Ascension in some way, shape, or form. But, I mean, if we're talking Deus Ex Machina, I mean, a thing, some kind of relic, some kind of artifact, you're going to find it at the Priory, or the Whispers and be like, we know where to find that. But,
well, and that's why I also want to explore maybe a couple possible ideas. And like I said, I feel it's going to be Terayasa, but I just don't feel it should be. But there was 3 other possibilities I could kind of see it happen. One was I keep blanking on the guy's name. The one that was trying to find the seed. Ronan. I always want to say like Ronan or something. No, I think I said Roland.
That's Aaron 1, by the way. Aaron 1.
No, I think I said. Fine, I'll give it to you. I think last time I was saying Roland, and that's the guy from Borderlands. Whoops. But yeah, Ronan, which might have a history with, if that is the cave, that's what I'm basing it off of, is that possibility. If that cave that we saw in the trailer is the cave that he found the seed to plant, basically create the Sylvari where they're at. And basically, for people that don't know, Sylvari follow Ventari's teachings. In Guild Wars 1, you get a little snippet of Ventari and this guy named Ronan, who lost his family and whatnot. He planted a seed on the gravesite of where his family passed away, or was basically destroyed by, I believe it was the White Mantle when they were running amok. And basically both this centaur, Ventari, and Ronan, this human, live together, and this is where Ventari's teachings come in, and basically being kind and being good, and all the teachings. So is this where this cave was? Because he found these seeds guarded by, I think they now say,
just plant-like monsters. Basically.
Yeah, plant-like monsters, which might be other creatures that we've seen in Guild Wars 1 that are plant-like, creatures and whatnot, like golem-style looking things. I mean, could this be Ronan? I mean, what do you guys think?
It's like you said, it's possible just because it's a cave in the Maguma area. What I would be wondering, if that was Ronan and if that was the cave that he found the seeds in, how did he get in if it's got this whack door? Yes, I said whack door. I'm sticking by that phrase. Like, how would he know how to open that? So I'm not sure about that.
Or maybe it was opened and it's sealed afterwards. Or I said, it's basically that one's loosely based on it. The other two I have in mind kind of go hand in hand with each other. It's what like one idea that was going around is it could possibly be Prince Rourke, which was the Prince of Ascalon in Guild Wars 1. That you basically adventure and progress through the story and finding out like halfway through. Spoiler alert for Guild Wars 1, he dies, kind of comes back, kind of kill him again. But it's Ritlock basically has his sword, and everybody's always wondered how he got it because he died pretty far away from it, from where we can actually go. It's called the Ring of Fire.
Well, what do you mean he died pretty far away from it? You're talking about Rurik, right?
Yeah.
He has the sword in his hand when he dies on the Ring of Fire. He dies twice.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying he dies pretty far. I meant for Ritlock to go.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant he died far away from the sword.
Rurik is here. Ritlock is
yeah
this way.
Okay. I thought he was talking about.
It's complicated when things die multiple times. I mean.
Okay, so like I had the awesomest theory on this for the longest time, and my theory was that Livia had given Ritlock the sword because Livia potentially could have gone to the Ring of Fire to get the Scepter of Ore because that was lost there at the end of Guild Wars Prophecies. But now there's a theory going around that Gix is the one that gave Ritlock the sword because didn't either Gix says he owed Ritlock a favor or Ritlock owed him a favor, right?
I honestly don't
even remember hearing
there's a little dialogue line in one of the quests. I need to go back and do it now. That like hints that Gix and Ritlock had a thing. And not like a romantic thing, like a quid pro quo thing. So now the theory going around is that Gix gave Ritlock the sword, and I'm almost inclined to agree with it, even though I really like the Livia gave him the sword theory. So yeah, who knows?
It being secretive means that Logan doesn't get jealous. So. Would it have been? It probably would have been one of those things. Like where Ritlock is in like a story instance off talking to the side, because I don't remember that from any of the like major points at all. Is that from recent storyline or is that like in our personal story?
I feel like I saw it in a Wooden Potatoes video. That's what I think happened.
So let's dig into frame by frame analysis kind of stuff. Got it.
I mean, the other idea I have that couples with it is it could just be a general Ascalonian higher ranking person, just because that armor, like the shoulders, the chest, the gloves, and I believe the boots, are Ascalonian heavy armor, dungeon armor. So I was thinking, since the other, like, you know, the skirt, which I think Aaron told me was later gladiator, I believe
it's the pit fighter. I believe.
Okay. And see, look, two and two, we're tied. I didn't know that.
But you miss a point for saying gladiator, so now it's 2-1.
Oh, God. Yeah. Start naming all the heavy armor. But
I didn't know we had a point system going for this. I wasn't informed of this.
It was on the fly. It wasn't in the notes.
It just happened.
Not at all in the notes.
It just happened. Things happen.
It'll be in the notes next time.
I was thinking it was a higher general or something like that, because we do know Ritlock went into that portal, or into the mist. Is he controlling, and this is where they kind of combine both the Rourke one and maybe these ones, is he controlling the ghosts of Ascalon or have some control over them that he could send someone to?
That would be cool, actually. I'm totally in.
Now that I said it out loud, it makes me reminds me of the Lord of the Rings. Like, is he gonna come with his ghost army and wipe out everything?
Well, I've been thinking on your first theory about, you know, the cave is where the Pale Tree's seed was found. That means we're going to fight some, what were they called in Guild Wars 1?
The seed pods?
No, the giant plant guardians. Because weren't the seeds
moss hearts?
I mean, we had oak hearts and stuff in Guild Wars 1.
Yeah.
Okay. But
are you thinking of the wardens?
Yeah,
those are only in Cantha.
Okay, because I thought it was said that they were guarded by giant plant-like creatures.
I don't know if it said giant, it just said plant.
I think originally it said like magical elementals, and then the wiki got changed to plant-like creatures.
Which there were always plant enemies in Guild Wars. In Guild Wars 1, you had the Thorn Stalkers and the, like Deo said, the pods that would come up everywhere around the world, and the Oak Hearts and stuff like that. So there were definitely always plant creatures on Tyria before the Sylvari.
Those stupid little pods that just healed themselves and did nothing else.
I mean, and like I said, I like the idea of, we haven't seen Ritlock, and as a little side note, when they announced the trailer, they also sent out to, I think, fan sites a shirt of Ritlock on the front, and it was like kind of stylized or something a little bit of the image they teased about weeks ago where he has the blindfold on. I mean, it's interesting that they're like, hey, don't forget about Ritlock. Like, do you guys think we'll see him pop back up? Or at least
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah, it's the finale, and they've been teasing him all season. So if they don't deliver, that's another table flip. We've already got a table flip in that this is the finale. If they don't show Ritlock in the finale, I'm flipping my desk live on the next podcast, and I'll have to reconnect to the show.
All right, we have that here, so everybody call him out.
Are you talking like even if he comes in at the very end, is like getting the portal?
As long as he's in it.
Explain.
He could be in it for 2 seconds, but if he's not in it at all, the desk is getting flipped.
Now I actually don't want him in it. I actually don't want him in it.
You want to see the flip and then the cut to black, huh?
Yes.
I don't know that I will be flipping my desk over. There is expensive equipment.
And it's going to hold you to it. I'm sorry.
These things cost money.
But I mean, and I find it funny that the shirt, I don't know if ArenaNet did this on purpose. I'd love to find out. But on the front, like I said, it has Ritlock's face and stuff. On the back, it says no turning back now, I think.
Yeah. You talking about the grayish shirt that they're giving out in like contests and stuff?
Yeah. And I think in the bigger letters, it actually says turning back. And I was like, it made me think, if this is Ritlock's message, is he sending a slight dig to Logan? Like, don't turn back. Like,
yes.
Because that was the bigger letters of the two, was like turning back. I could just see him being like, here's a message to them, but here's a secret message to you, Logan.
Or it's just, a shirt pun, because turning back is on the back of the shirt. So
that would be great if they had like a cutscene where Ritlock says that line and Logan's just standing there like,
like kind of looking over into the portal.
They're bros, right? I mean, I thought they were bros again. I thought everything was cool.
Yeah, but because they're like bros about it, they can give each other a nice little ribbing, like, haha, you ran away, chicken. But also, I mean, is there anything else we want to speculate on this like ghostly figure? Like, I just wanted to kind of present the information that I could kind of see where it would go, and people could pick what they want. I mean, out of those four, what do you think is the most likely for Arena to do, or do you see another person into the mix? I mean,
I think Turiasa is most likely, but not 100%. Like it really could be someone else. So it really is open.
Other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think Turiasa, but like I said before, I really wish it wasn't, because I don't feel it fits as well. But
just to point out, Royby, our co-host, who's not here this week, is in chat because he's having work done on his house and it's very loud. He wikied the whole Gix Ritlock thing for us, and he says Gix received the idol of Balthazar in exchange for a favor. So Ritlock gave him an idol of Balthazar, and now Gix owed him a favor.
As
so
like
that's
a payment for something, or
so that's where that theory comes from, that Gix possibly gave Ritlock the sword.
It is interesting though, because in the end he would still lie, because I think Ritlock says he found it somewhere in the Shiver Peaks, which insinuates that he found it when Ritlock died the first time. Or not Ritlock, sorry, Rurik.
Yeah, it's not confirmed that... So basically what happens with Prince Rurik in Guild Wars 1 is he gets killed in the Shiver Peaks, and then a undead lich resurrects him, and he gets killed again on the Ring of Fire Islands. Both instances he has Sohathan, but it's not confirmed that the one he's wielding while he's undead is the actual Sohathan. So it could be that he lost the real Sohathan in the Shiver Peaks, and it got into the hands of the Stone Summit, or they left it there or something like that.
Yeah, possibly. Because isn't there that now we're getting deep into a rabbit hole. But isn't there like the one scene from the Priory storyline where when you're exploring stuff, they talk about the Stone Summit had Sahathan?
Oh, did they say that?
I thought they talked about the sword very briefly.
The Stone Summit had a that sword that's in that one quest that's like made of Elder Dragon blood or something.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
maybe that's what I'm thinking of. All right. But
So
before we go way deep into random stuff, there's other scenes. Like we see Kate and Wynn, which we were introduced to with the Seas of Truth, I believe, more so than we've ever seen before. Basically, who is Wynn? At least what we know of her so far.
She is a pacifist friend of that particular group of centaurs, one of the other firstborn. She likes spending her time out in the Silver Wastes.
And I mean, in the scene that's like right after the ghostly hero, or ghostly figure, sorry, she kind of seems like she's in fear of something. I mean, any thoughts of what that could be?
I was thinking about that when I was talking about how the cave possibly has forgotten in it. The Sylvari, being, a new race, these two being firstborn, are looking at this as like everything they run into is new to them. What if they're seeing forgotten and kind of cowering in fear from them? Because that's what they look like. They're afraid of something with the whole wide-eyed thing going on in that particular clip. So maybe that's how Kate knows they're forgotten in there. She met them in there, and holy crap, what are these things with her and Wynn? After she told, Fallon to go take a hike because she was a crazy bitch.
Yeah, as you can see on there, Wynn is like latching on to Kate in that scene. Like,
yeah.
So I do like that idea of like maybe they run into these forgotten and are like, what are these things? Because they are a new race, so they don't have that background knowledge of it.
Yeah.
It was just pointed out in chat, and I don't know if this is how it normally is, but yes, Kate's eyes are solid black.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. And that's weird.
And really creepy, actually.
Yeah. It could just be the lighting, but it could mean something too.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the whole mind control element that is kind of floating around with the whole Mordramoth thing going on, and with Wynn saying like this secret could possibly control all the Sylvari. What if Kate falls under the influence of something? But what I personally think is going on in this picture is whether Kate is under the influence of something or not. I think Wynn is scared of Fallon right here. I think Fallon's doing something insane, and Wynn is like, dude, this is not okay.
I was gonna say, do you think this will be Kate and Fallon's like turning point where she's just like, no, I definitely need to stay away from her?
Yeah, I think this is where Fallon's going to really come out as a sadistic character, and Wynn is scared, and Kate is going to be like, oh wow, I love you and everything, but no.
Is Wynn still floating around, or is she not even mentioned in current time Guild Wars 2?
I'm not sure if Wynn is still alive or not. Is there any information on that?
I don't think we've known of her. I think she was one of the ones we didn't know about until...
Well, because, it's ambiguous, because I've left a furious forum post about this on Gamebreaker Nation forums, actually. Gamebreaker Nation, go join up. But basically, the history on the Firstborn Sylvari is a ludicrously unfulfilled topic, lore-wise. They don't have all of them named. I think they had 9 as of they either have 9 or 10. And Wynn was a newly introduced character in the Seeds of Truth patch when she was introduced. So before that, Wynn wasn't even like a thing we knew about. So she might die in this patch. She might be a character that's still alive, like in hiding somewhere. But we didn't know about her until the Seeds of Truth patch. And like Nerd Rage, I hate that they don't have full history on the first.
I was gonna say this might be our tiebreaker, but because we're tied 2-2. I'm looking it up right now. I thought there was 12 firstborn, not 9.
No, there are 12 firstborn. There are 9 we know about.
Okay.
We don't know about the other ones. That's what annoys me, is that they don't, like, ArenaNet hasn't even seen fit to be like, oh, and these are all firstborn.
The number of firstborn is confirmed. All of the we're not sure who all of the firstborn are. So.
It's like, aren't these important people? Like, shouldn't we know about these?
And I think in the next scene we see like a mysterious figure with HEATH, but I definitely think that is the player character, because I think with the Seeds of Truth, they came out with like them using the seed. I think it was also a Sylvari that looked similar. Oh, okay. So I definitely think that's the player character. I'm not 100% sure. We also see her in the Priory. But also I think the climax at the end is kind of the Silver Waste battle, Camp Resolve, the ensnared vines, and last but not least, at the very ending, you see the shadow of the dragon, which we saw a little bit of in the which story was it? Where it attacks the pale tree. I honestly.
The mid-season finale.
Okay, what's the mid-season?
Shadow of the Dragon.
Yeah.
And so that's when.
Or Dragon's Reach Part 2, rather.
Yeah, that's when we first saw it. And it basically fled from us. What are your thoughts about this World Dragon? This, I guess you're hinting at what we've been kind of speculating. But what do you think about this dragon? Do you think it will be a world boss, mini boss, instanced?
It looks like it's in the same cave where we fought that crazy powerful Terragriff.
I don't know if it could fit.
Yeah, the Aspect Masters with how it's hopping along, but then again, it could just be like night lighting, and it could just be dark sky there. But I'm hoping it's a world boss, because if we've got a standard length chapter set here with the story missions, I would accept it if we also got new world events along with it. Like, I would be more satisfied with, instead of a longer bit of story, we would get the standard plus more things affecting the world, since this would effectively be Mordramoth waking up. Like, this would be Mordramoth at his most active by the end of this, so we get more stuff that's going on. Though I'll admit, I do like spending time in the Silver Waste on my engineer, because flamethrowers and killing killer plants is just so much fun to me.
It's yard work.
Really quick, 2 mistakes I made in the podcast, which means I'm now sitting at 0 points. It was Gix that did Ritlock a favor, not the other way around. And there were 9 firstborn before the introduction of Wynn, so now there are 10 firstborn we know about. Okay, moving on to the dragons. I'm hoping that this will be maybe not a world event, but something similar to the Marionette. So like was that considered a world event?
I think it was an open world.
A world event.
It was a zone meta event anyway. I'm hoping this will be a zone meta event. A lot of people are under the impression that it will take place in that kind of 3-lane area that's off to the very west of the Silver Waste. And I agree that would be a good location for it. Who knows where it will take place? But I do hope they open that 3-lane area up.
On that western side between blue and yellow?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I agree. I think the lane-based thing was really fun in the Marionette fight, so it would be a good mechanic to go back to. I don't know if they'll make it a full-on world event that'll give like the bonus chest and everything like that. It'll probably have its own special set of rewards like the Marionette did. But if they can pull off another fight like the Marionette, I'd be super happy with it.
Now, like you're saying,
if it was like more permanent than Marionette.
I was just gonna say, you were talking about how it could be similar to Marionette. Do you hope it stays around and it's a permanent kind of Marionette fight, rather than what Marionette turned out to be was during that span of story, which makes sense. It shouldn't have still been around, but do you want it to stick around? I mean, we still have Tequado, even though Zaitan has been defeated.
It depends on whether or not we actually kill it. If we actually kill it, I'd rather it be gone. But if in order for us to kill it, it would have to be an instance thing. So I'd much rather it not be an instance thing and for it to stick around.
Though,
Then-
do remember, because I don't know what its official title is. I don't know if it falls under like the Shadow of Morgemoth.
I think it's the Shadow of the Dragon officially.
Oh, is it? Okay. There you go. You have another point. I felt bad. For these points that don't matter.
Chat says it's called the Evolved Jungle Worm.
Phew.
Chat, you're at -1.
But with this Shadow of the Dragon, it could be a title kind of like Shatter, Claws of Jormeg. So we could defeat it, or it could do what Tequatl does. You get it so far and it runs.
Yeah, that's true. Since Morgemoth, I mean, he's freaking Morgemoth. He can create as many Shadows of the Dragon as he wants. So you have a point there.
He's a great gardener, so he can make as many as he wants. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's not a 5-man instance, I want it to be a bigger thing out in the Silver Waste map. So,
Well,
Like we were
everything,
talking. Oh, go ahead.
everything with the Silver Waste, like any of the big events, have been, gigantic events, when people aren't running around just opening boxes, Aaron.
oh, dude, I've gotten back to that recently. Actually,
You're a terrible person.
I've got like a stack of boxes in the last 24 hours.
But I really do think that, and this is going back to when we talked way early, I think it was in one of our first or second shows, when they were talking about someone getting hired for a raid designer. And I don't think they'd hire anybody who specializes in large group content design and be like, hey, look, Shadow of the Dragon, you get to fight him again, and it's an instance.
I mean,
So it
what did
just-
we all think about the PAX role in this assault on Morgemoth? I mean, are they going to be by our side, or are they sending the, I guess, bigger forces away, like maybe towards Morgemoth?
Are we
And we're-
are we talking like involved in the fight?
the fight that
with
we're
the
going to
Shadow?
possibly be dealing
With the Shadow of the Dragon.
I would honestly really like to see, because you know how you could build like barriers and siege weaponry during the marionette fight. I wouldn't mind seeing more of the stuff from the Silver Wastes, where you could get supply pack bulls in, maybe from blue and yellow, and that would give even more incentive for people to keep things rolling into the fight. And you'd be able to build, you could do signal flares for them to do bombing runs down a lane. You could build cannons and arrow carts and barriers and all kinds of crazy stuff. That would be pretty awesome, honestly, just to tie it in with the rest of the big meta event that is the Silver Wastes.
I like where you're going with that. The only complaint I would have, and it's just a personal issue, it's not really a gameplay issue, is I don't like using like siege weapons or bundle items in fights. Like, I hate the Jormag fight because you have to pick up those bazookas. I hope they don't do that, but like, that's not bad gameplay, it's just a personal preference. So if that's what they have to do to put in the kind of World v. World-esque mechanics into that fight, then I'd be fine with it. But you're right, that would make for an excellent fight if they put more of those mechanics into it.
Well, the idea I was having with a world boss, because we do see in one of the scenes they have that pod that we see at the very beginning of season 2 in the back, in like for a split second. What if like we have to go through the Silver Waste, do all those events that we had, and then they have the lanes, and as we're like escorting or whatever, getting people to go up into those lanes to fight it, we also have to protect that back. Like, they're also attacking Camp Resolve because of those vines. So we also have to, we have like a two-way defense. Like, we have to defend or attack while we're defending our main base, and then maybe when we destroy that pod thing that's in the back, maybe that's where the shadow of the dragon comes down. Because it seemed like it was like you guys were saying, a darker place where it kind of is on the side of a like cave or something, but maybe not a cave, but like enclosed valley place. Maybe that's where it pops down at, and we can fight it there. I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, what you're saying is kind of like chat's kind of agreeing with you in that that's a lot like how the Karka Queen works. How you have to get the settlements ready, and then the Karka Queen you have to lure her out, basically.
And yeah, I think it would definitely be interesting. And it's just, I think the biggest thing is how often they're going to do it. Are they going to tie it into the world bosses or the world boss train, which I don't want to be one of the situations where you have the other ones where it's like you can do the pre-events, but never the other, like the actual meta until that 2-hour mark. It would just stop. But,
well, they'd be able to kind of just slot it into the timeout stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how they're going to do it, but I mean, you know, let's move on to see if we have any Twitter questions. And I believe we do. Who would win in PvP? Harry Potter, World Wizard, and Witch, or Guild Wars 2's Ellie's, Mesmers, and Necros?
I think it basically means Harry Potter magic versus Guild Wars magic.
Yeah.
I could probably safely defend Guild Wars 2's magic. Not.
Well, it depends on the power levels of the wizards, though. You've got spells in Harry Potter that can do things that we can't really do in Guild Wars, like the Killing Curse. You can't just, you're dead in Guild Wars. It doesn't work that way. But if we shoehorn Guild Wars 2's spells into real life, we know where health bars and game mechanics are no longer a thing. I can't believe I'm having a serious debate about this. But, I mean, a fireball is going to work effectively the same way as the Avada Kedavra curse in Harry Potter. So it's really just a matter of who's quickest on the draw, which, you know, who knows?
I mean, we have not seen the full power of the dragon magic, so better watch out.
Comparatively,
well, he didn't say dragons. He said Guild Wars 2 wizards.
Comparatively speaking, I mean, you can technically say that there are instances of both universes of Magic being able to cast without their implements, but a Harry Potter witch and or wizard is a lot more helpless without it, and in Guild Wars 2, you've got the other 5 spells on your bar without your weapons, including your elite skill. So that Harry Potter witch and or wizard can disarm you, but in the case of my elementalist, I'm turning into a tornado. So
yeah.
And we have bundle items, the items that you hated so much, Aaron. Look,
I
we
don't
would
like
win.
bundle items.
We could pick up a bundle item and still use it. We would
summoned
win.
weapons.
It depends on how powerful, because you have like we're not going there. Nope, not going there.
Are we done?
We don't have enough time for that to go that deep into it. But
This is not a Harry Potter podcast.
what? Final thoughts? What do you guys think? The Guild Wars 2 Magic users would beat the Harry Potter wizards?
I'm going to go with Guild Wars 2.
Probably Guild Wars 2 also.
And I think it's a Guild Wars
More
2
free
all the way
reign.
across.
Yeah,
We have bundles, so we'll win. There you go, Rena. There's your tagline. We have bundles. We can beat Harry Potter wizards. But, Aaron, where can you be found on the internet?
I can be found at A Former Monk on Twitter and aformermonk.wordpress.com. I made a New Year's resolution to focus more on short stories and traditional blogging rather than long-form stories. So I have to do it now. I have to. Go there.
Where can they find you?
They can find me at MelthanusMMO on Twitter.
And you can find me at simply_Deo on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. I want to start streaming more. I say that every time. Gotta start, I swear. People yell at me on Twitter. That's a good way to synergize it, right? But I'd like to thank all the guests. I'd like to thank everybody in chat for showing up. For people watching the VOD, you can tune in live, hang out with everybody in chat, interact with us, and talk about the game with fellow Tyrians. Always on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern. And everyone here can be found at the Guild Wars 2 Guild at GameBreakerNation.com. And if you're saying, I'm in and out on Guild Wars 2, don't worry, we have Final Fantasy XIV, Elder Scrolls Online, World of Warcraft, both Horde and Alliance, League of Legends, a Minecraft community. I talked about last time we had the... I know we have Elite Dangerous group, but I think we officially have a Star Citizen, that's it. There you go. Chat's correcting me on that, or keeping me on my toes. And so many games, we just keep growing with members like you. So if I haven't listed something, head on out. I'm sure people are playing it. So head on out, join us in Mumble, and as always, we will see you in the game.
Tinfoil and table flips on YouTube.